Surely you've heard of the Roma communities in North Macedonia? There's a city where Roma people live. They even have their own municipality. In that sense, perhaps this is the best example of Roma self-governance in the world. 6 kilometers north of the capital, Skopje, about 20 minutes by car, lies an isolated residential area known as Shuto Orizari, or simply Shuto. Only people of Roma origin reside here. As you know, Roma people constitute a significant portion of the population in many countries, particularly in Turkey, the Balkans, and various European nations. Their total number is estimated to be between 20 million and 25 million people, though the precise figure remains unknown. In North Macedonia, one of these communities thrives. In fact, it's the largest Roma area in the Balkans and Europe as a whole. It's not just a Roma neighborhood, it's its own municipality. Being in Skopje, we wanted to see firsthand how this Roma community lives. The area's very presence symbolizes the distinctive flag of the Roma people. Some call it the Roma flag, but this is a point of contention. Roma people often dislike being called Gypsies and are offended by the association. They insist, "We are Romani, not Gypsies." This distinction arises from the negative connotations associated with the term Gypsy. They disapprove of street begging and avoid engaging in illegal activities. Even tour guides, when pointing out beggars in city squares, differentiate them, stating that they are not their compatriots but Gypsies. Therefore, Romani people striving for a decent life distance themselves from the label Gypsy and prefer the term Romani. If you examine the circular symbol on the flag, you'll notice it's similar to the symbol in the center of the Indian flag, a wheel. This leads to the assumption that the Romani people migrated or were forcibly relocated from India to the Balkans and Europe for various reasons. It's believed that in the medieval and early modern centuries, after the Common Era, the Roma fled wars in India or were captured into slavery and transported to the Balkans. They traversed Central Asia and even the Middle East before reaching Central Europe, where they began a new life. Throughout history, they've faced various forms of discrimination. Even after arriving in Europe, they were persecuted and deported. Despite this challenging history, their most significant achievement is the preservation of their ethnic and cultural identity. Living under the roofs of different nations, they have assimilated, maintaining unity within their communities, creating distinct neighborhoods, and successfully passing on their Roma identity and genetics to future generations. The musical talents and skills of the Roma people were discovered and appreciated even in those early times, making a significant contribution to the development and spread of musical culture in Central Europe. Through different eras, the Roma excelled in music and dance, demonstrating true mastery of these art forms. If you spend time in countries like Albania, North Macedonia, Kosovo, Bulgaria, and Turkey, you'll frequently encounter Roma melodies and Roma performers in many local musical genres. Perhaps the most significant contribution of the Roma people to the world is their music. Unlike famous scientists, renowned sports teams, or grandiose historical heritage, in the Balkans, their presence is primarily felt through their music. They harnessed their entertaining and talented nature, leading them to invent mobile carts and organize tours as traveling merchants or artists. Not only in music, but also in dance and circus arts, they found activities they excelled at. Physically, Romani people bear a striking resemblance to Indians. The green background of their flag symbolizes the earth, and the blue symbolizes the sky or heavens. The inclusion of a wheel symbolizes their nomadic traditions, their endless travels and migrations. While today the Romani lead a more sedentary lifestyle, in the past, they often sought new homelands. Without an independent and free state of their own, they became citizens of other countries. During the Second World War and the Yugoslav era, they were subjected to various persecutions, oppression, and inhumane treatment. It's said that over the past 100 years during various wars, between 200,000 and 500,000 Roma were killed. Today, some refuse to register their ethnicity as Roma to avoid facing new forms of discrimination, and are forced to accept the ethnic identity of the majority in the countries where they live. However, in Shuto Orizari, in North Macedonia, the situation is entirely different. In this area north of Skopje, the Roma live quite freely. Their political rights are protected. Only in this region of North Macedonia do they possess a territory where they can truly feel at home. Although they abide by the laws and regulations of the country, they enjoy complete freedom in terms of lifestyle and live a life separate from the city center, based on their own culture. The people here live in 2- or 3-story brick houses. They own extensive land, and various families live in separate houses within the neighborhood. This predominantly Muslim community shows a welcoming attitude towards outsiders. From a general overview, it's clear they've created a peaceful and developed community. As soon as you exit a taxi and enter this area, you're greeted by a more modern lifestyle than you might expect. At opposite ends of the main road, there are shops, mainly catering to the Roma, selling textiles and food. They have their own language here, and it functions as a municipality. Its leaders are also Roma. They even have their own television channels, and the inhabitants conduct their daily lives entirely in accordance with Romani traditions. You can imagine it as a municipality within a municipality, separate from Macedonia proper. Of course, people can speak Macedonian, but they don't necessarily understand English. If you were to go there alone with a large camera, you might face a significant reaction. Our guide constantly had to explain to shop owners why a camera was necessary. That's why we couldn't take as many detailed pictures as we wanted. Not to mention that they openly refused offers for interviews. They say that content creators for social media have already come here, taking pictures and interviewing locals for various purposes, often exploiting the goodwill of the people for their own gain. That's why they are wary of cameras, filming, and interviews. Some rarely allow themselves to be filmed or pose for photographs. Others demonstrate a cold and hostile attitude, especially when communicating with strangers. I don't recommend using the word gypsy. Their attitude towards you can suddenly change, and they can become quite hostile. In this regard, there's a word they use. They might call you gao. This means, in their language, that you are considered a foreigner. This is somewhat reminiscent of the term gringo, which Mexicans use to refer to white people, especially American citizens. On the main street of the area, or rather this small Romani municipality, you can see a lot of textiles. These products look exactly like replicas of various expensive brands. However, these people have a relatively low monthly income. They're not likely selling original products. These clothes look like exact copies, counterfeit products made in China and Turkey. Even the sellers at the market admit that the products are fake. If you look at the residents of the Romani area, you'll see that although some have a good income, the majority are low-income earners. Even in North Macedonia, people usually earn a maximum of about 500 euros a month. According to our Romani friend, the average monthly income of their people fluctuates around 300 euros. Some don't even earn that much. Perhaps the most positive presence in this Romani quarter is the children. It's striking how many children there are in the area, both in the alleys and on the playgrounds. Mainly boys. Will they stay in their area after they turn 18? Or will they seek to move to countries like Germany after completing their university education? It's not yet clear. This uncertainty is explained by the high unemployment rate. About 50% in the Romani community, and even higher at about 30% in all of North Macedonia. Those who find work often receive meager salaries. Beautiful market squares, playgrounds in the area, a school, and a medical center. These are projects that were reportedly initiated by the Roma mayor. Jokingly, they even built an amusement park. The Romani community is sincerely striving to create better living conditions. Of course, it can't be denied that some side streets show signs of wear. In some places, the cobblestones are broken. This is not possible to fix all at once, anywhere in the world, and it requires significant budgets. Some of the houses in which the Roma live are decorated with columns in the European style, and even long vertical columns reminiscent of the ancient Roman Empire. These mansion-style houses belong to those who receive higher salaries in European countries and build houses for themselves in their home area. Ultimately, the main economy of this area is based on those who earn money in European countries and bring it back. Otherwise, it would be almost impossible for the Romani residents to make a significant profit solely from their community, consisting mainly of small businesses. Some Roma jokingly deal with large textile companies, exporting goods abroad and making money. However, most are small traders, so some are forced to go to work in other countries, bring back the money, and invest it in the area. Thus, the residents of the area benefit from the current situation and secure their livelihood. For example, those who live in these beautiful houses return to their area in the summer and arrange large Romani weddings and parties. A wealthy Romani emigrant who wants to celebrate his wedding among his compatriots naturally rents a room nearby, hires a Romani musical group, and buys drinks and food from local merchants. In addition, they buy expensive souvenirs from local merchants for their loved ones, thus making a direct contribution to the Romani economy. If you see new models of German cars, especially in the summer, be sure that their owner lives in Europe and has come to his homeland on vacation. Roma people, like North Macedonians, have great admiration for German cars. However, despite the fact that some houses look conceptually good, they are left in a brick state and are not painted. There may be two reasons for this. Either they don't have enough budget to complete the construction of houses immediately and continue it at certain intervals, or to avoid paying taxes for completed construction, they prefer to leave the houses in an unfinished state. Both options are very likely. Among the workers employed in the construction of these houses, there are not only Roma, but also Albanians. After all, if you look closely at some of the workers and talk to them, you can clearly understand that they are not Roma. According to rumors, both ordinary Roma and world-famous Romani musicians live and build houses for themselves in Shuto Orizari. However, a certain contrast reigns in the city. Right opposite the multi-story luxury mansions, there may be shacks in which people can barely make ends meet. Those who live in these huts have their own yards, but the toilets are usually located on the street. The interior of these dwellings reflects the more complex life some Roma are forced to lead, as modest a life as possible. Despite this, Roma people are known to be very polite. Some may even invite you to their home for dinner. They offer tea, coffee, and any food they have on hand. For example, one family prepared a classic Romani dish called ronja, and were happy to offer it to us. It mainly consists of lamb, green beans, and tomatoes. Most Roma are familiar with this dish and enjoy it very much. In North Macedonia, they are very fond of meat dishes, and this preference extends to the Romani community. Although Roma usually like spicy food, if you come across this dish called ronja, you will notice that it uses little spice, which allows you to more clearly feel the taste of the meat. If you happen to visit a Romani family, you'll see that the domestic life of men and women is noticeably different. In the house, there's a clear division of responsibilities between women and men. In Romani families, the head, or patriarch, is definitely a man. This isn't a rigid hierarchy. Rather, those who bring in money, deal with tools and household items, and support the family are almost always men. At the same time, women usually play the role of housewives and are responsible for all household chores. Men have more authority and influence on making general decisions regarding the household's behavior. They like to live in close contact with their children and value strong family ties. For example, Romani children don't have to leave the family home and move to another house in the neighborhood until they get married. Roma like to live together, as one whole. They give a voice to each member of the family and respect each of them. They differ only in the distribution of responsibilities. As for entertainment and events, for example, they organize beauty contests in their community. They choose the most beautiful and young girls from their area. These girls dress up in beautiful outfits and put on glamorous makeup in a rented wedding hall. The judges who will determine the most beautiful Romani girl are also chosen from among the Roma living in the neighborhood. Based on the votes of these judges, the Roma choose the most beautiful girl. There are dances, music, and celebrations. The girl who is chosen first is presented with various awards. Various dishes are prepared, and presentations are held for the Romani community in North Macedonia. These events are held on such a grand scale that the president of North Macedonia and the mayor of this Romani district personally attend them and honor the Romani people with pleasure. The presence of politicians at these events testifies to their respectability, given their significant electoral potential. The president and the mayor must attend such events. In conclusion, it should be noted that Roma people continue to lead a separate life all over the world. Unlike many countries, they don't always have separate residential areas like in Shuto Orizari. They often live by someone else's rules and in accordance with someone else's culture. Despite the fact that most of them share the same ethnicity and their appearance is largely similar, their language distinguishes them. These descendants from India are still looking for a permanent home, as today they do not have their own independent state. Similarly, Roma hope for a change in negative attitudes and perceptions towards them. For example, residents of European Union countries often consider Roma people to be second-class citizens, subject to. If you enjoyed learning about the Roma community in Shuto Orizari, Please give this video a like and subscribe to our channel for more fascinating explorations of unique cultures around the world. Negative stereotypes often paint Roma people as poor, uneducated, and even thieves. However, as we saw in that humorous anecdote from North Macedonia, many Roma are hard-working individuals leading decent lives and fighting for their rights. It's crucial to be more active and proactive in amplifying Roma voices globally. This increased visibility will foster better understanding and recognition, ultimately leading to a fairer and more respected image in the countries where they reside. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and give this video a like if you found it insightful. In this video, we shared some observations and conclusions about the Roma people, focusing specifically on the Roma community in North Macedonia. We examined their daily lives, their traditions, and the challenges they face. We hope this offered a more nuanced perspective. Until next time, goodbye.